Ashbrook, a picture-perfect town, nestled amidst rolling hills and sparkling streams. Its residents, known for their warmth and hospitality, welcomed visitors with open arms. Life in Ashbrook moved at a leisurely pace, its tranquility undisturbed. At least, that's what the surface showed. Beneath the idyllic facade, a current of unease rippled through the town. Whispers of corruption, of silenced voices, and of a truth too sinister to face swirled in the wind. Ashbrook held secrets that cast long shadows over its charming streets. Secrets that whispered of a darkness lurking beneath the town's picturesque exterior. The source of this darkness? The mayor's office. The townsfolk, bound by fear and resigned to silence, turned a blind eye. They were trapped in a gilded cage of their own making, afraid to challenge the status quo. The price of dissent was too high, the consequences too dire. Yet even in the face of fear, the human spirit yearned for truth. The yearning manifested in hushed whispers and furtive glances, a silent plea for someone to shatter the facade and expose the rot within. Mayor Edgar Langford, a man who cast a long shadow over Ashbrook. For 22 long years he had ruled with an iron fist, his grip on the town tightening with each passing year. Langford, with his silver tongue and charming demeanor, had mastered the art of deception. He spoke of progress and prosperity. Schools and hospitals were built, businesses flourished, and Ashbrook seemed to thrive. But this prosperity came at a cost that many were afraid to acknowledge. Langford's regime was built on a foundation of fear, intimidation, and carefully veiled corruption. Elections were a farce, rigged to ensure his continued victory. Dissent was met with swift and brutal retribution. Those who dared to question his authority found their businesses ruined, their reputations tarnished. Some simply disappeared, their fates unknown. A palpable fear hung in the air, stifling any form of opposition. The townsfolk, though aware of the corruption, chose silence over confrontation. They convinced themselves that Langford's rule, though flawed, was still better than the unknown. They clung to the illusion of peace and prosperity, afraid of what lay beyond. But the truth had a way of surfacing no matter how deeply buried. And in Ashbrook the truth had a name: Eli Carter. Eli Carter, a young journalist new to Ashbrook. Full of idealism, he saw the town as a blank canvas, a place where he could make his mark. He threw himself into his work, covering local events and writing human interest stories. But something about Ashbrook didn't quite sit right with Eli. He couldn't shake off the feeling that something was amiss. The whispers, the fearful glances, the carefully constructed silences, all hinted at a truth that lay hidden beneath the surface. Driven by his journalistic instincts, Eli began to dig. He started asking questions, probing into the town's finances and looking into Langford's past. He soon discovered a pattern of shady dealings, rigged contracts, and unexplained disappearances. Eli knew he had stumbled onto something big, something that could bring down Langford's regime. With renewed determination, he worked tirelessly, gathering evidence and piecing together the puzzle of Ashbrook's corruption. But Eli's investigation did not go unnoticed. Langford, always vigilant, soon became aware of the young journalist's snooping. One night, Eli disappeared. He vanished without a trace, leaving behind only an empty apartment and a sense of unease that settled over Ashbrook like a shroud. The whispers intensified, fueled by fear and uncertainty. Eli Carter had become a symbol of Langford's ruthlessness, a stark reminder of the price of truth in Ashbrook. Mara Holloway, a close friend of Eli's. She refused to believe that Eli had simply left without a word. He was working on a big story, a story he was deeply passionate about. Mara knew in her heart that something was wrong. Driven by a potent mix of grief and determination, Mara vowed to find out what happened to her friend. She started by retracing Eli's steps, visiting his contacts, and following the threads of his investigation. She knew the risks involved, knew that she was putting herself in danger, but she pressed on. The truth was more important than her safety. Her search led her to Eli's apartment, where she found a hidden box tucked away in his floorboards. Inside, she discovered a treasure trove of information documents, photographs, and handwritten notes, all meticulously compiled evidence of Langford's corruption. Eli had been right. The corruption ran deep, and he had been close to exposing it. Mara felt a wave of nausea wash over her as she realized the extent of Langford's web of deceit. But amidst the horror, a spark of hope ignited within her. Eli's work, his dedication to truth, had not been in vain. She held in her hands the key to dismantling Langford's regime and bringing justice to Ashbrook. But she couldn't do it alone. She needed help, people she could trust. Section 5. The Ashbrook 12 Seeds of Rebellion. Empowered by Eli's findings, Mara knew she couldn't let fear paralyze her. She had to act, but she couldn't do it alone. Carefully, she reached out to individuals she knew harbored doubts about Langford's rule. People whose trust had been broken, whose lives had been touched by the mayor's corruption. She shared Eli's evidence, revealing the depth of Langford's deceit. One by one, she found her allies. A shopkeeper whose business had been driven to ruin by Langford's cronies. A teacher whose inquiries about missing school funds had been silenced. A retired police officer who had been forced into early retirement after raising concerns about Langford's activities. 12 individuals, each carrying their own scars from Langford's reign, united against a common enemy. They called themselves the Ashbrook 12, a secret alliance bound by their shared desire for justice. They met in secrecy, planning their next move, careful not to attract attention. They knew they were treading on dangerous ground. One wrong step could have dire consequences, but they were fueled by a potent mix of anger and hope. They were determined to expose Langford and reclaim their town. Their plan was audacious, risky, and relied heavily on timing and public sentiment. They would use Langford's own platform, the upcoming Founders' Day Festival, to expose him. Section 6. Uprising at the Founders' Day Festival. The annual Founders' Day Festival, Ashbrook's most cherished tradition, a time for celebration, for the community to come together. It was also the day Langford traditionally addressed the town, a platform he used to solidify his power and bask in the illusion of adoration. This year, however, the festival would take on a whole new meaning. As the festivities reached their peak, Langford took to the stage, his face beaming with feigned humility. He began his usual rhetoric, praising the town's spirit and boasting of his achievements. But this year, his words rang hollow. A hush fell over the crowd as a video began to play on the large screen behind Langford. A video that showed him in a very different light. There he was, caught on camera, accepting bribes, threatening local business owners, and even discussing the disappearance of Eli Carter. The evidence was irrefutable, captured in vivid detail. The crowd gasped, murmurs rippling through the once festive atmosphere. The illusion of Langford's benevolence had been shattered. The carefully constructed facade of prosperity and progress crumbled before their eyes, revealing the ugly truth beneath. Langford, his face contorted in rage and disbelief, tried to regain control, but it was too late. The dam of fear had broken. Section 7. The walls crumble, Langford's downfall. Panic seized Langford as he realized the game was up. His carefully crafted world, built on lies and deceit, was collapsing around him. The crowd, once passive and acquiescing, now seethed with anger. They had been lied to, manipulated, and their trust had been shattered. The Ashbrook 12, strategically positioned amongst the crowd, fueled the flames of discontent. They distributed copies of Eli's evidence, ensuring that everyone knew the truth about Langford's reign. The tide had turned, and there was no turning back. As chaos erupted, the police, who had long been under Langford's thumb, hesitated. They had witnessed the video, the irrefutable evidence of his corruption. The sight of the townspeople united in their outrage gave them pause. They lowered their batons, choosing to stand with their community rather than with a corrupt official. Langford, abandoned by his enforcers and facing the wrath of the people he had oppressed for so long, was swiftly arrested. His reign of deceit was over. Section 8. Ashbrook rebuilt, a town renewed. The arrest of Langford sent shockwaves through Ashbrook. The truth, once hidden in shadows, now shone brightly, illuminating the town's wounds. The healing process was slow and arduous. The town had been deeply scarred by Langford's corruption, trust had been broken, and the sense of community had been fractured. But amidst the pain, a new spirit of hope began to blossom. The people of Ashbrook were no longer willing to be passive bystanders. They had found their voice, and they were determined to use it. Town hall meetings were packed, with residents actively participating in shaping the future of Ashbrook. A sense of collective responsibility took root, replacing the fear and apathy that had long held the town captive. The process of rebuilding was not easy. There were setbacks, arguments, and moments of despair, but through it all, the people of Ashbrook persevered. They were determined to create a better future for themselves and for generations to come. Section 9. A promise kept, Eli's legacy. In the aftermath of Langford's downfall, a memorial was erected in the town square to honor Eli Carter. a constant reminder of the young journalist who had sacrificed everything in his pursuit of truth. Mara Holloway, her grief tempered by a sense of purpose, continued her work as a journalist, dedicating her career to exposing corruption and injustice. She had kept her promise to Eli, ensuring that his work, his sacrifice, would not be forgotten. Ashbrook, once a town shrouded in secrets and silenced by fear, had undergone a transformation. It was no longer a town of whispers, but a town of voices, a town where truth prevailed. The scars of the past remained, serving as a reminder of the price of complacency, but they also served as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Ashbrook stood as a beacon of hope, a testament to the power of truth and the importance of holding those in power accountable. It was a testament to the courage of ordinary people who, when united by a common purpose, could overcome even the darkest of times. And at the heart of it all was the enduring legacy of Eli Carter, the young journalist who dared to speak truth to power. His story served as a reminder that even in the face of overwhelming odds, one person's pursuit of truth can ignite a revolution.